Welcome back, dear listeners, into the suffocating darkness of Bram Stoker's Dracula. We now reach Chapter 4, Jonathan Harker's Journal, the most desperate entries yet. By this point, Jonathan knows beyond doubt that he is trapped in the lair of the undead. The Count is preparing to leave for England, and Harker realizes with mounting horror that his own usefulness is coming to an end. What follows is a harrowing account of courage, madness, and the final, terrifying nights inside Castle Dracula. Let us descend once more into the journal of a man fighting not just for his life, but for his very soul. 17 June. Harker writes with feverish haste. The Count has grown bolder. Every night he appears, his eyes gleaming with cruel satisfaction as he discusses the final arrangements for his journey to England. 50 great boxes filled with Transylvanian earth have been prepared, each one a resting place for the vampire. These boxes are to be shipped to London, to the old house at Carfax that Harker himself helped the Count purchase. Harker overhears the Count giving orders in a language he does not understand to unseen servants, gypsies perhaps, or the Zagani who camp outside the castle. The sound of hammering and the scraping of heavy boxes echoes through the corridors at all hours. One night, the Count enters Harker's room carrying a bundle of papers. With chilling calmness, he says, "Write to your fiancée and tell her you will be leaving here soon. Write that your work is almost finished." Harker obeys, but in the shorthand he has taught only Mina, he adds a frantic, hidden plea. "For God's sake, come and find me if I do not return." The Count smiles, as if he can read the hidden message, yet says nothing. 18 June. Harker makes another desperate attempt to escape. He searches every corner of the castle for a key, for a loose stone, for any possible way out. He climbs again to the battlements and looks down the terrifying drop. Below, he sees a band of Zagani, gypsy horsemen, loading the great boxes onto wagons. Their wild songs drift up on the night wind. Suddenly, from a window high above, he hears the Count's voice commanding them in their own tongue. The gypsies bow in fear and hurry their work. Harker realizes the horrible truth. Once the Count leaves in one of those boxes, Harker will be left behind, at the mercy of the 3 vampire women who still glide through the shadows, waiting hungrily. 19 June. Terror reaches a new peak. Harker witnesses something that shatters what little sanity he has left. Late at night, he creeps down a staircase and peers into a dimly lit chamber. There, the Count is bending over a great box, but he is not alone. A young woman, beautiful, dressed in white, lies helpless on the floor. The Count leans down, his mouth fastened to her throat, drinking deeply. When he raises his head, his lips and chin are smeared with fresh, bright blood. His eyes burn with satanic triumph. Harker staggers back, sick with horror. He now understands exactly what fate awaits him once the Count no longer needs a living solicitor to handle his English affairs. 24 June. The nights have become unbearable. Harker can no longer sleep. He hears the soft, mocking laughter of the 3 sisters echoing through the stone corridors. Sometimes they call his name in sweet, seductive voices. "Come to us, Jonathan. We are waiting." He presses his hands over his ears, but the voices slide into his mind like silk. 25 June. Harker discovers that the Count has taken his clothes, his suit, his hat, even his traveling cloak. The monster plans to impersonate him on the journey to England, using Harker's appearance and papers to move freely among humans. Harker writes in a shaking hand,
I am to be left here alone with those awful women. They will feed on me slowly, night after night, until I become like them, undead, soulless, hunting the living. The thought fills him with such loathing that he resolves to end his own life rather than suffer that fate. He climbs once more to the highest battlements, determined to throw himself onto the rocks far below. But as he stands on the edge, ready to leap, he hears the sweet voices of the three sisters calling up to him. "Come back, dear Jonathan. You are safe with us. We will love you. We will give you eternal life." Their words wrap around his will like chains. He hesitates. In that moment of weakness, the Count appears behind him, his iron grip closing on Harker's arm. "My friend," the Count says with mocking gentleness, "you are too precious to lose so soon. Your time has not yet come." He drags Harker back inside. That night, Harker sees the Count leave the castle in the form of a great bat, flying out into the moonlight toward the Scania camp. 29 June. The final horror unfolds. Harker wakes to find the castle strangely silent. He searches frantically and discovers that the Count has gone. The great boxes have all been loaded onto wagons. The gypsies are preparing to depart. But the three vampire brides remain. Harker hears them moving through the corridors, their silken dresses whispering against stone, their laughter growing closer. He barricades himself in his room, but he knows it is only a matter of time. In a final act of desperate courage or madness, he decides to search the Count's own chamber one last time. There, in a corner, he finds a great heap of gold, ancient coins from every country in Europe. Among them are papers and deeds, but more importantly, he finds the key to the main gate. With trembling hands, Harker seizes the key and races through the castle. He reaches the great door, turns the key, and pushes with all his remaining strength. The door swings open. Freedom! But as he steps across the threshold into the moonlight, he hears the three sisters behind him, closer than ever. Their voices rise in a chorus of cruel delight. Come back to us. You belong to us now." Harker runs. He runs until his lungs burn and his legs give way. Behind him, the castle looms like a black beast against the sky. The howls of wolves rise all around him. He collapses at last on the roadside, half mad with terror and exhaustion, still clutching the journal that contains the only record of what he has witnessed. The final entry is written in a scrawled, almost illegible hand. 29th June. I have escaped. God help me. Mina, if I never return, know that I loved you and that the horror is real. And then nothing. That was Chapter 4 of Dracula, the chapter where Jonathan Harker's journal reaches its breaking point. We have watched a rational Englishman descend into raw terror, witnessing the Count feeding, realizing the fate planned for him, battling the seductive call of the vampire brides, and finally making a desperate, half-mad escape into the unknown wilderness of Transylvania. Bram Stoker has taken us to the edge of madness with Harker. The polite, note-taking solicitor who began this journey with recipes for paprika Hendel is now a shattered man, fleeing for his life, carrying knowledge that could save or doom the entire civilized world. The Count is already on his way to England, traveling in one of his boxes of earth, disguised in Harker's clothes, carrying Harker's papers. The invasion has begun.
If your pulse is racing and you feel the cold breath of those three sisters on the back of your neck, then the story has you in its grasp. Stay with us for the next chapter, where the scene shifts to England and we meet the other characters whose lives will soon be touched by the shadow of the vampire. Thank you for enduring these haunted pages with me. If this chapter left you breathless and sleepless, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Share this video with fellow lovers of Gothic terror, because the nightmare is only just crossing the sea. Remember, once the vampire leaves his castle, the hunt truly begins. Lock every door. Until next time, pray for the dawn.